Maybe you like somebody's colors. Maybe there's a hot guy on that team. Doesn't matter. You got two teams. We're starting with that. Okay, so this is a segment on simple stupid sports that I like to call bare minimum. So bare minimum basically says that you can watch this sport without knowing everything about it. I think a lot of people tend to get intimidated by trying to figure out all the rules and follow all the plays, and at the same time, like, you don't need to know that stuff. It's silly and it's stupid, so why are we learning it? The first sport I'm going to start with is hockey, mainly because the playoffs are here, and yeah, I won't have to do this for very long. Bare minimum of trying to get into hockey. You gotta know that there are 3 positions on each team, technically 4 if you count a center, but I will get into all of that. You have your 2 teams. That's where we're starting with, okay? You got one team that's good, one team that's bad. You can decide who's who. Really doesn't matter. Sometimes the popular team is good. Sometimes you want them to lose, and you want the underdog to win. Just kind of depends on how you're feeling that day. Maybe you like somebody's colors. Maybe there's a hot guy on that team. Doesn't matter. You got 2 teams. We're starting with that. Those 2 teams have people called goalies. Goalies guard a net. The point of hockey is to get that little black thing into a net. That's it. Beyond getting a puck into a net, there's very little that you need to know about this game to understand it. People who guard the nets, those are called goalies. The goalies are kind of the people who have the shit job on the team. Let's just be serious. They're like Leonardo Dicaprio before he won his 5 Oscars. You keep throwing things at him, keeps missing, but every once in a while you get that really golden save. It only took him 5 tries, but eventually Leo saved up to get an Oscar for The Revenant, which he shouldn't have won. It was a terrible film, and he should have won for Wolf of Wall Street, but they gave it to Matthew McConaughey for Dallas Buyers Club, which I wish I could say I was mad at, but I'm not. Using more movie star analogies, if you want to go into the further depths of hockey, you can talk about the 5 players in front of the goalie. There are 2 defensemen. Defensemen are supposed to not give Leo the Oscar, so I guess if you want to put it that way, they're people like Matthew McConaughey or Forrest Whitaker, who won for Last King of Scotland, which was more deserved. Keeping with our movie star analogy, I guess, the people in front of them, there's 3 of them, don't know why I have 6, there's 3 people in front of them. That is 2 forwards and 1 center. It does not matter that you know that. The only thing that you have to know is that there's a goalie, there are 2 defensemen in front of him, and there are 3 dudes running around with the puck in front of them. These are kind of like the young hotshots. They're the Timothy Chalamets, they're the Ansel Elgorts, they're the Daniel Kaluuya's, although he is completely warranted. And sometimes these guys are warranted for their talent. They're really good people to have on your team to move that puck into somebody else's net. So that is the bare minimum you need to know. There are 6 players on each team. They go for the goalies, they try to get the puck in. Now, if you want to dive a little bit deeper, you can say that there are lines. Now, lines are basically understudies. So it's like you have Daniel Kaluuya, Ansel Elgort, and Timothy Chalamet on your front line. Okay, that's number 1. Those are like the guys getting the covers of every magazine, they're getting the awards nominations, there's buzz around them all the time, and then you have kind of like 3 other waves of those really hunky hotshots, alright? And every once in a while, you're like, well, Daniel and Ansel and Timothy, they're probably getting a little tired of this. So let's just switch them out with another line of young hotshots that I can't think of off the top of my head. I don't know, if we're going like super early 2000s, you could do like Robert Pattinson and Taylor Lautner and like whoever the guy is from 50 Shades of Grey. Clearly it doesn't matter that much. There's 3 other lines of those, so that this way your front line doesn't get tired of doing interviews and running around the frickin' ice for 60 fucking minutes. So they switch out pretty seamlessly. It's one of the things about hockey that you might not even notice happens. You're like, why do they have 22 guys on a team when you use 6? But at the same time, you won't ever notice it because if you have more than 6 guys on the ice, you get what's called a penalty. Penalties are when a team has done something wrong and must be punished for it. You'd get that from the word penalty, but at the same time, you might not understand the actual punishments. So there's stuff like icing and hooking and slashing, which you don't need to know about. All you need to know is if there's a penalty called, there's a high likelihood that the team who fucked up is gonna get penalized in some way. Usually this is by putting one of their players into a penalty box, which honestly is like a glorified kindergartner timeout. You sit them in the box, you make them wait there for 2 minutes, think about the shit that they've done. You might as well put a dunce cap on their head and just like point and laugh, but let me break that down for you a little bit more. Penalty, someone is put in timeout. Let's just say Team Oscar nomination versus like B-list TV actors. Team Oscar nomination, really fucked up. Someone was bragging, somebody was running around, shooting their mouth, maybe threw a fist, made headline news, so we gotta put them in a timeout for around 2 minutes. Can be longer, it's usually 2 minutes. Ansel Elgort seems like he'd probably do some shit like that, so Ansel Elgort's in a timeout. The only people you got left are your 2 other people on the front line, so Daniel and Timothy. You got the people behind them, Forrest Whitaker and fucking Matthew McConaughey, and you got the guy in the goal, Leonardo Dicaprio. The other team, on the other hand, has all 6 guys on the ice. So it's basically 6 against 5 because Ansel Elgort said something stupid. It's an easy way to say, hey, don't be shitty during a game. Let's review, okay? You got 6 guys on each side. You got a bunch of other guys behind them ready to take their place at any moment in time. The only person who rarely switches out is the goalie, unless you mess up. If Leonardo DiCaprio was an actual goalie, he would have been pulled first period. Penalties. Somebody fucks up, gets put in the penalty box, aka glorified timeout. From there, you can have 6 on 5, or if both your guys are in the penalty box because they fight like children, you could have 5 on 5. End goal, get the puck in the other dude's goal. That's it. The overall way that hockey is played is in 3 periods. They are each 20 minutes long and pretty self-explanatory. You try to score as many goals in those periods as you can. Team with the most goals wins. That's it, you guys. That's the bare minimum that you need to know about hockey. Hopefully that was somewhat explanatory, but I will see you next time on Simple Stupid Sports. But if I go